The old iron gates groaned as Emily pushed them open. Rain lashed down, blurring the outline of the mansion on the hill, Blackwood Manor. The name sent shivers down her spine. She was a journalist with a nose for a good story, and this place reeked of stories untold. Lightning flashed, momentarily illuminating the mansion's crumbling facade. Gargoyles leered from the rooftops, their shadows dancing menacingly on the overgrown lawns. Wind howled through the ancient trees, their branches clawing at the sky like skeletal fingers. Emily took a deep breath. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something ancient and unsettling. As she approached the front door, she could have sworn she saw a flicker of movement in one of the upstairs windows. A shadow gone as quickly as it had appeared. Emily shook her head, attributing it to the storm's fury and her own overactive imagination. Still, a prickle of unease ran down her spine. This place had a presence, an aura that whispered of secrets best left undisturbed. But Emily was not one to be deterred. She had come seeking a story, and she was determined to find it. The heavy oak door creaked open as if disturbed after a long slumber. The air inside was stale and cold, heavy with the weight of ages. Dust motes danced in the faint light filtering through grimy windows, illuminating the grand but decaying interior. Cobwebs draped everything like macabre decorations, and the silence was broken only by the incessant dripping of water somewhere deep within the mansion. Emily stepped inside, her footsteps echoing in the vast, empty hall. She ran a hand along the dusty surface of an antique table, its surface cold and damp beneath her touch. The air was thick with the scent of decay and something else, something akin to old perfume, but laced with an underlying metallic tang that made her stomach churn. Portraits of stern-faced men and women lined the walls, their eyes seemingly following her every move. She imagined them as the former residents of Blackwood Manor, their gazes filled with silent judgment and perhaps a hint of warning. But warning against what? Emily couldn't shake off the feeling that she was being watched, scrutinized by unseen eyes. Blackwood Manor had once been home to a wealthy family, the Blackwells. They had vanished without a trace one stormy night, much like this one. No explanation was ever found. The family, their servants all gone, vanished into thin air. Some whispered of foul play, others of a family curse. The truth, like the Blackwells themselves, remained lost to time. Emily had pored over old newspaper clippings and local lore, piecing together the fragmented history of the mansion and its former inhabitants. The Blackwells, by all accounts, had been a reclusive bunch, shunning society and keeping to themselves within the mansion walls. There were whispers of strange rituals, of lights seen flickering in the dead of night, and of disembodied voices carried on the wind. Then one night, silence. The lights went out, the voices ceased, and the Blackwells were no more. Some say their souls remain trapped within the mansion walls, unable to find peace. Emily shivered. She hoped she wouldn't encounter any restless spirits tonight. She was here for a story, not to disturb the dead, or so she told herself. The deeper Emily ventured into the mansion, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. Each room seemed colder than the last, the shadows deeper and more menacing. The silence, once heavy, was now punctuated by the occasional creak of floorboards or the rustle of something moving in the walls. Or was it just her imagination? As she passed a dusty mirror, she thought she saw a fleeting movement behind her. Whirling around, heart-pounding, she found nothing but empty darkness, yet she couldn't shake off the feeling that she wasn't alone. Whispers seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves, too faint to decipher, yet undeniably present. She pushed open a door, and a gust of cold air sent shivers down her spine. The room was dark, the only light coming from the moon peeking through a crack in the boarded-up windows. As her eyes adjusted to the gloom, she made out the outline of furniture draped in white sheets like ghosts of their former selves. The air was thick with dust and the pungent odor of mildew, and then she heard it again, a whisper close to her ear, sending a jolt of fear through her. "Get out!" Emily's hand trembled as she reached for the doorknob of the last room at the end of the hallway. The whispers seemed to intensify, urging her to turn back, but her journalistic curiosity, her thirst for the truth, spurred her onward. Taking a deep breath, she pushed open the door and stepped inside. The room was surprisingly bare, devoid of the dust and decay that permeated the rest of the mansion. Moonlight streamed through a single unboarded window, illuminating a large, ornate rug in the center of the room. As Emily approached, her foot caught on something, causing her to stumble. Looking down, she saw a metal ring set into the floor, almost invisible beneath the rug. Curiosity piqued, Emily knelt down and pulled on the ring. With a groan, a section of the floor beneath the rug began to rise, revealing a set of narrow wooden stairs leading down into darkness. A wave of cold, stale air wafted up from the opening, carrying with it the faint scent of damp earth and something else, something distinctly unpleasant. A shiver ran down Emily's spine. This secret staircase, hidden from view, hinted at something sinister lurking beneath the mansion. Heart pounding, Emily cautiously descended the creaking wooden stairs. The air grew colder and damper with each step, the smell of damp earth intensifying, now laced with a metallic tang that made her stomach churn. The darkness below seemed to press in on her, thick and suffocating, amplifying every creak and groan of the ancient staircase. Finally, she reached the bottom and found herself in a narrow, dirt-floored corridor. The only light came from the faint moonlight filtering through the opening above. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of mildew and decay, and Emily could feel her heart pounding against her ribs. As her eyes adjusted to the gloom, she made out a faint glow emanating from the far end of the corridor. Cautiously, she took a step forward, then another, drawn towards the light as if by an unseen force. As she approached, the glow intensified, revealing the outline of a figure standing at the end of the corridor. The figure was tall and slender, shrouded in a dark cloak that concealed its features. It stood perfectly still, as if waiting for her. Terror lent speed to Emily's feet. She didn't hesitate, didn't look back. She scrambled back up the hidden staircase, her heart pounding in her chest. The figure, the shadows, the whispers, it was all too much. Blackwood Manor held secrets, dark and terrifying secrets, and she had stumbled right into the heart of them. She slammed the trapdoor shut and scrambled to her feet, racing back through the mansion, her breath catching in her throat. The whispers followed her, growing louder, more insistent. They seemed to be everywhere, echoing through the empty halls, urging her to leave, to escape while she still could. Bursting out of the front door and into the raging storm, Emily didn't stop running until she reached her car. Rain lashed down, blinding her, but she didn't care. She fumbled with the keys, her hands shaking, desperate to escape the nightmare of Blackwood Manor. As she pulled away, the mansion loomed large in her rearview mirror, a dark and menacing silhouette against the storm-tossed sky. And for a fleeting moment she could have sworn she saw a face in one of the upstairs windows watching her go. Emily's breath came in ragged gasps as she sped away from Blackwood Manor. The rain continued to fall in sheets, blurring the road ahead. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest, her pulse racing with adrenaline. She had never been so terrified in her life. As she drove, her gaze was drawn back to the rearview mirror. The image of the mansion receding into the distance was burned into her mind. And then she saw it again, a face in the window, a pale, gaunt face with dark, hollow eyes that seemed to stare directly at her, filled with an unnerving intensity. The face was only visible for a fleeting moment, gone as quickly as it had appeared, but it was enough to send a fresh wave of terror washing over Emily. She gripped the steering wheel tighter, her knuckles turning white. She had seen enough. Blackwood Manor held its secrets close, and some things, she realized, were best left undisturbed. Days later, safe in her own apartment, Emily couldn't shake off the memory of Blackwood Manor. The whispering shadows, the hidden staircase, the face in the window, it all played on her mind like a recurring nightmare. She had her story, a chilling tale of a haunted mansion and the secrets it held. But at what cost? She tried to put it all behind her, to forget the terror she had felt that night. But the memory lingered, a shadow lurking at the edge of her thoughts. She had gone to Blackwood Manor seeking a story, and she had found it. But she had also found something else, something dark and unsettling that she couldn't explain, something that whispered to her in the dead of night, reminding her that some mysteries are best left unsolved. The experience had changed her. She was no longer the same ambitious journalist eager for the next big scoop. Now she was haunted by the shadows of Blackwood Manor, forever marked by the encounter. The whispers, once faint and distant, now seemed closer, lingering at the edge of her hearing. And in the quiet moments when the world around her faded away, she could almost feel the cold, damp air of the mansion closing in around her, the scent of decay and the faint metallic tang of fear.